JCPS Superintendent Dr. Yearwood is standing behind the budget cuts that district leaders have already made. He says cuts thus far have followed his request of not impacting students and the classroom experience. As Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia-Francischini explains, Dr. Yearwood says that students can't afford to keep falling behind.
Well, Brian, at the most recent Board of Education meeting, the district's new chief academic officer shared JCPS students' reading proficiency levels are steadily declining. So as district leaders continue to look for ways to make up for a $188 million budget deficit, they're also looking at how they can get students back on grade level.
I knew improving academics would be the focus. I knew that. I looked at the data. We all have seen the data.
The data JCPS Superintendent Dr. Yearwood is talking about,
you can see the state in blue outpaces us,
is this. The district's new chief academic officer, Angela Hosh, says overall performance in the district is below where it needs to be. A 2024 review shows that JCPS was rated in the second lowest category in the state.
At this point, it would be immoral to maintain the status quo.
In order to increase those test scores, Dr. Yearwood says classrooms must remain intact.
The thing is, we have teachers who are working, like I said, sun up to sundown, coming out of their pockets and just doing a magnificent job with our kids. But again, we have to see better results.
One potential way to improve scores, Dr. Yearwood says, is by reviving the Everyone Reads program.
That is a dream of mine.
The program brought thousands of volunteers into JCPS schools to read with students, providing assistance and mentorship.
It was a phenomenal program. And what was most exciting about it is that it generated interest in the community.
Dr. Geneva Stark worked with JCPS for 31 years and saw the impact the program had on her students. She says she is concerned about the current reading scores and supports bringing back programs that could help fix the issue.
Literacy is the key. When you're talking about reading, that is the foundation of the educational system. That is the foundation of democracy.
With the ongoing budget issues, it is unclear when Everyone Reads could be coming back, though. Dr. Yearwood says with the cuts already in place, JCPS will be in a better financial position in 2027, but he says more cuts are likely on the table. Fernando Garcia-Francischini, Wave News.
It's gonna be a long ride. All right, thanks.